Okay, so I wanted to kind of keep the name of the talk with the conference theme of being simple. I'm a simple-minded person, so I'm going to give a simple talk here. So Martin wanted me to sort of give my vision of things, and so I'm going to talk about kind of what I think my mission is here, and some of the observations that I've had over the last several months, a couple issues that are kind of on the table, and you know, maybe some goals and some other suggestions about how to deal with stuff in the future. So what does the GIO do now anyway? Okay. So in the past, as I understand it, there was a position under the state CIO's office, and it was very much a work with state agency kind of deal, and the business model was money, 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 give me money. And now the position has moved to the another floor of the DOA building, and we're in intergovernmental relations and the Wisconsin Land Program, information program. And the big business model there is giving grants to counties to do land information. So when I applied for the job job description was like 30 different things, all over the place. And so it's you know, obviously addressing the needs of the WLIP community. There was some lingering state agency stuff in there, finding additional money, and setting standards, and then all the other things. And so it's taken a little while to figure out what that all means. Okay. So, and the main thing you should know that it's 100% WLIP funded. So I pretty much work for WLIP, and that's a good thing. So what am I going to do? Oh, I gotta flip there. What am I going to do? So from my sort of past experiences and what I think I bring to this job, I think pretty much I work for everybody, okay? Especially the folks involved with land information. And the purpose of this is to obviously benefit the citizens of the state through the application of our technology. And if you want to boil that down a little better, it's really putting land information to work for all. And so a good example of that is working with some other folks to get federal funding for 7 counties to help do their LiDAR. So that was something that I could just kind of jump into pretty easily, and the money started flowing. So it was good. Given that, I've had a little bit of time to look at what are the sort of big issues in the state. There were a lot of people that said, when the GIO gets here, we're going to do this, or he's going to take care of that, or all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh God, what am I going to do now? So, so one of the first things was, and I noticed this even before coming to the state, when I was looking at interviewing and stuff. I'm a data guy, and I looked for data, and it was hard to find. And so I think, you know, the whole GeoPortal repository thing is intertwined with this, and we'll talk about that in a minute. The other thing is I've noticed and I'm not being judgmental. I'm just trying to show you what repeat back what I've observed. And the culture here is different than I'm used to. The silos are quite deep, and people have a hard time peering over to see, you know, what else is going on. So, and again, I'm not judging this in any way. I'm just stating that it's something I've noticed. And why is this situation the way it is? Well, back to the conference theme, it's not simple, it's complicated. You have a brilliant community. There's great, wonderful people in this room, and the ones that stayed home and didn't come to the conference, I count them too. It's a huge community, very, very diverse and very wide-ranging, and on the opposite side of that, not so good. There's definitely in some us versus them, some kind of tribal things going on. So, which is interesting because, you know, when I observed the partying last night, there's lots of friendly socializing going on, and so, you know. There's obviously very good social networks and long-standing friendships. So, that being said, so the first thing that I would sort of wish for to work on, the thing that I would like to try to help with, is to somehow improve the atmosphere of cooperation. And on a, you know, sector to sector, get people out of their silos and start empathizing with each other a little better and understanding each other's issues. So, you know, it's a really difficult thing to do. I've got a few suggestions. You know, you can throw tomatoes if you want, but it is what it is. Oops, I went the other way. Okay, here we go. Okay, so get professional help. That's, you know, when you're having trouble in a relationship, you sometimes can go to a professional, and sometimes that helps. And in this case, I used to work for a university extension, and which was we did community and economic development stuff, and we had lots of facilitation training, and the message there was there are people in that community that can help groups to figure out how to do strategic planning and leadership training and stuff like that. And it's an idea, you know. It cost a little money, but it's not horrendous. It's the other thing they taught you. It's not really a do-it-yourself kind of thing. You really need a neutral third party. So that's, of course, that's kind of self-serving on their part. But anyway, so. The other suggestion I have, and I've tried doing this in other situations. If you don't have a lot of money, like to do those kind of things, really all you have is kind of your own resources, your own time, and we've done this with 4-H and university groups, and even geographic information councils. How many of you have ever signed up for OpenStreetMap and done some mapping with that? Good. There's a few. Okay. So you know the basic idea of OpenStreetMap. You get on there and you can actually edit the crowdsourced map of the world. Okay. So that's pretty easy to do. But they also have these add-on things where you can map in places like South Sudan or the Philippines, or and actually map places where there are no maps. and contribute that way. So let me show what example of this. This is the little town of Leon in Iowa. There's no GIS in the county. There's no GIS in the city. But we use this several times as a training thing to learn how to do OpenStreetMap, and we've mapped all the kind of basic features in the town, and eventually these end up in like Google Maps and other things. So it's kind of fun. The humanitarian side. This is a city in the South Sudan. This funny modeled pattern is a refugee camp, and people have contributed to mapping structures and tents and other things that help the aid workers do their job. So I'm just suggesting this is something that if you have a group that wants to engage in an activity where you're kind of doing something cooperative and you're doing something to help other people, that's kind of a fun thing to do. Okay. The other issue, the crazy data repository thing, portal thing. When I came here, there was a lot of documentation for this thing. A lot of people put in some very hard work on it, and a week or two after I had started, they told me they took the server down, and they said we've stopped working on it, and I was kind of what's going on here? So the approach they took, which was through the old GIO's office, was very costly to run. Almost no incentive for people to want to participate. Okay, and it kind of duplicated some of the efforts of other people. So it as I said here, it was kind of, it wasn't a real happening thing. GeoPortal kind of clearinghouse things, they're hard to run because it's been my experience after a couple of years, people get kind of tired of them. They don't want to submit metadata anymore, and they just kind of die on their own. So we don't want that. Now, I've also experienced where people focus on the data, on the content of the so-called repository, then it becomes a little bit more usable and useful. So what I'm proposing to you is that this repository concept really morphs into the idea of a complete library of public data, and that we've got some librarian folks that can really help us to organize this. Oops. Am I going to die here, Martin? I'm almost, oh, there it is. Okay. It's fixed. It was falling out. So yeah, GIS people are really kind of crummy librarians when it comes to that kind of stuff. So we really need help with our library stuff. Okay. So we're talking about an open data library. It's data in the public domain. And so if I got data, why should I contribute to it? You can go back to the ROI thing. And really, the thing is we want to improve the well-being of our citizens, the businesses they run, the governments that take care of them, all those kind of things. And so that's the bottom line. And if we do it right, then some of these things, it can actually help the data providers to not have as much work to do. It can serve as a backup. It can be an archive. I've experienced my agency being X'd out from under me, and all your work kind of disappears if you don't have a plan B. So now on the other side of this is kind of everybody else in the room who doesn't provide data, but you consume data. And what I would really like to suggest here is there's a role for you. Because it's open data, yes, it's free, but there are things that you can do that give back to the community. Some of those things are kind of, you could do some volunteer type stuff. There's some technical support that may be useful. And there's also, you can tell the boss, the guy whose data you're getting it from, you can say, hey, this is a really good idea. You should keep doing this, okay? So I'm trying to put everybody on the hook here, okay? Not just the folks that produce data. So what I'm proposing here is that our concept of the geoportal or the repository or the clearinghouse, it really needs to evolve into a geospatial infrastructure that supports lots of activities. There's a data library, which is a core piece, the metadata and the catalog and all that stuff. But there's also web services that we can plug into our applications and stream data to, and all the other things, practices and people. So this is really going to be our contribution to the national spatial data infrastructure. Okay. So in thinking about how we're doing this, we've heard a lot of folks are doing cloud stuff. We've got counties that are moving their entire GIS infrastructure to the cloud. There's a number of interesting projects out there. NASA uses the cloud to process their Mars data. The NAEP contractors use the cloud to distribute data and services, and so on and so forth. So people are getting some experience with this, and I kind of think Waukesha County might be like the first shot of this, and as more and more people kind of figure it out, they're going to be going in the same direction. Okay, so. So again, looking at what this infrastructure looks like, there's framework data, it's based on open data. Hopefully we'll free up some local resources to do other things managed by professionals. And one of the things that I'm really hoping is that there will be ways for us to encourage experimentation and innovation by working together on projects in the cloud that we couldn't do before. So it's really an interesting sort of change in how we're looking at things. And bless his heart, Howard said, project this out 10 years and give us what it's going to look like. Well, I can't quite predict that much, but here goes. In 10 years, there will be at least 10 or 11 versions of the parcel data, year by year. So of the statewide parcel layer and the boundaries, and so you're going to be able to start looking at analysis based on time, and as well as geography. Hopefully by that time we'll have statewide LiDAR and make all of that available, and statewide imagery data sets and make those available. Obviously other useful layers, start getting municipal GIS up on the cloud and contributing data. We've got good coastal resources, coastal programs that can contribute data. Obviously, state and federal agencies. So, okay, so the other simple goal is let's try to make some progress on this concept. And again, kind of going back to the first idea of how can we do this together. I mean, there's going to be all the kind of efforts that WLIP is going to do to get the framework data, but there's probably some opportunities for other groups of us to get together and to maybe contribute data from other places. And I'm just suggesting here, there's a lot of federal data that's out there, soil layers, land cover, all those kind of things that need to really go in the data library, and maybe we can work on that together. So, again, it's not simple. I don't think it's an illusion, but I think it's something that we can work on together, and I look forward to doing that with you all. Thanks.